The March for Australia group was the largest.
You love Australia?
I love Australia.
You respect the ground, you respect the heritage. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie!
Let's look at the signs of Western decline. Bureaucratic gaslighting. When the government no longer acknowledges problems, it just lies to you directly.
A street-side shooting.
Terrifying home invasion in Melbourne's north.
2 shots were fired into their home.
Masked intruders held a gun to her head.
Police have shot a man.
A teenager is fighting for life.
A man has died after he was shot and left for dead.
And another man almost lost his hand.
Carrying a machete, shotgun and what appears to be a hammer, and then fired straight into the Werribee home.
Slash during a violent mobile phone robbery.
5 masked men came in through the back door.
Violent gang fights sent Northland Shopping Centre.
It's been a night of terror for dozens of homeowners, with separate groups of armed thugs smashing their way into homes across Melbourne.
A pool of blood, a teenager was knifed.
Armed men pistol whipped a couple hiding in their bedroom.
A number of machetes and a sword.
Cash and a stolen Mercedes.
Armed with knives and at least 1 gun.
In Balwyn, another group broke in through a home's doggy door, threatening to kill a homeowner at knife point.
A gang of youths casing out a home. Family was awake inside. The Malvern East man is just one of thousands who have fallen victim to Victoria's skyrocketing crime rate.
Exacerbating the crime because it'll shed a devastating light on progressive policies.
Youth crime rates, the highest they've been since records began.
2 boys were stabbed to death. The same group bust into an empty Thornbury home.
Have run for their lives as a wild brawl erupted between gangs with machetes inside Northland.
The Sunday afternoon shoppers, some carrying their children, run for their lives.
Shot in the arm, repeatedly stabbed and bashed with a hammer.
Thugs targeting an Armidale family.
Hacked to death by thugs wielding machetes.
Big machete still in his stomach.
Stabbed to death as he lay defenceless on the ground. Just another weekend in Melbourne. A city now better known for crime.
In a substantial and growing list of crimes of this nature.
Well, the knife crime here in Melbourne is becoming more brazen and senseless.
Invasion in anyone's home is a massive breach of privacy, and firearm parts were also located.
They ignored it and tortured the people who brought it to light.
Yes.
Like, it's one thing to ignore it. It's another thing to identify the people who are bringing it to light, including the victims, and then to make their life a living hell and to gaslight them and tell them that, well, they brought it on themselves, let's say in the case of the victims.
They wouldn't even allow Parliament to debate legislation which would give homeowners more power to defend themselves. Well, why would Victorians need to protect their families?
When the police won't help, some parents are so worried about Melbourne crime, they are sending their children back to Africa. The drive-by shooting murder just hours later in Melbourne CBD. Violent crimes are up in Melbourne.
Record number of home invasions. Police concede there will be more victims and
highest level since 1993, when electronic records were established.
I think this is one of the greatest failures in government in the history of Victoria.
The wave of aggravated burglaries has reached record levels.
Victoria Police has arrested more offenders since 1993, more arrests in this state in our 172-year history.
Melbourne, the city that was once the envy of the world, is fast becoming irretrievable.
Police say the cost of living crisis has, in part, driven this spike.
Clean, safe streets, which you do not have.
Young girls sexually abused by Pakistani gangs, covered up in the name of political correctness.
That 1,400 figure you cite is just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, a member of the House of Lords stood up the other day and estimated 250,000. So you have an identifiable immigrant population committing the worst of all possible crimes on an unbelievably mass scale that's so severe and widespread that the government can do nothing but pretend it isn't happening. It's the sort of thing that's so awful that when people hear about it, they have to think that it's a lie.
Mass immigration, population replacement.
I think even if Jesus were to come back, he would even say, enough with the refugees.
So you have massive immigration coming into the country.
We have to stop letting people destabilize all these countries.
Why do you think they're allowing that to happen?
It's economic migration. It just doesn't work if you import the third world.
The multicultural experiment in this particular case went as badly wrong as you could possibly imagine.
When they become mayors and when they become governors, if that starts happening, you're just going to import people from all over the world, and they're going to take whatever their country is and make that state it.
Now, the level of immigration has a direct impact on the rental vacancy rate.
43% of the immigrants that come in general are on the dole. The main problem is that a lot of these people from certain countries don't assimilate.
No.
Because they are Islamic first, and then, and essentially the whole idea is to get a caliphate.
It's a totalizing system because everything has to come under its purview, including law. Really insane is that they're doing it. But the thing is, who's allowing this to happen?
457,000 permanent and long-term migrants arrived in Australia on a net basis. Immigration levels
are now the highest ever on record. Huge migrant inflows has put upward pressure on house prices, which in Australia are most expensive in the entire world. More people are competing for fewer houses. That puts upwards pressure on house prices.
Migration levels down to something we think the country can manage.
Temporary visas on issue, all-time high, around 2.5 million as a percentage of our total population to nearly 9%.
The only countries in the world that are essentially worth living in any real sense, are the ones that are predicated on the Judeo-Christian tradition.
All the bright and talented people that I know are leaving. We're losing the people who have created the jobs, infrastructure, housing, demographics. Talk about net immigration, and what no one really talks about is the fact that what we're actually doing is we're chasing out all the people who create wealth, who pay the taxes, and we're replacing them with people coming in towards the bottom of the jobs market at best, if they're actually working at all. And that includes you having lost some of your best people and replaced them with people who are not contributing.
White people are opinionated. They believe in democracy. They believe in freedom. And they're hard to control. So let's replace the white people.
Going on with this immigration and how it's affecting them, and the fact that these people that are coming in getting so much aid.
If you want to start overthrowing the very country that you're emigrating into,
but the problem is if you say something against it, then, oh, you're racist.
Higher property prices.
Increase in the demand and also the competition.
I want to know, is the government going to cut immigration to match housing availability, or are we just going to keep going until every regular working Australian is homeless?
Why don't you want to be seeing house prices drop? Because if you're looking to get into the market, if you're a young person looking at what's ahead of you, you definitely want to see house prices come down.
Well, that may be the view of young people. It's not the view of our government. We want to see sustainable price growth.
The median home value is now more than $844,000.
The median house price is $1 million or more.
Well, we're countering it by the fact that people out there are concerned about housing affordability.
Yes, they are concerned about housing affordability.
I find that it's been particularly well received in my electorate. People in Sydney know that house prices are freezing people out of the market.
Boomers will not sell their houses.
Hard-working Australians who are fully employed being made homeless. Full-time workers such as nurses and teachers have found themselves not being able to secure a rental, sleep in their cars and...
But Minister, if house prices don't come down, doesn't that mean that this system is stacked against young people?
Sure, and Dave, we may have a difference of view about this. I have a strong view. Our government's policies are not going to reduce house prices. We want house prices to grow sustainably.
Would you like house prices to go up or go down?
I want to see them steadily increase.
Saddling the next generation with more debt.
Pick this up for $200,000. Now it's worth $1.8. They like to tell you how cheap the house was when they bought it.
Less real economic growth, inflation, and lower quality of life.
Pushing Aussies towards poverty.
1 in 5 girls can't afford to buy pads and tampons.
All hospital EDs are under extreme pressure.
Days of unmanageable demand.
Wait times can be more than 4 hours.
Lower birth rate, greater public and private debt.
The tax take is growing faster than the state's economy, blown out by $3.3 billion.
People come in, you're giving them food and money and shelter.
Print new money out of thin air, and what that does is debase your currency or make the value of every dollar worth less, and that makes everything cost more for Australians, especially hard assets like housing.
And when you think that net zero is the way to prosperity, i.e. driving up energy prices, and when you don't have money, you can't pay police officers, and when you don't have police officers, people engage in crime.
No fear of police.
Oh, and lots of surveillance. Okay, wherever you move, you'll be tracked. Whatever call you make, you'll be tracked.
Life is about to change for every Australian. The digital control agenda by which every Australian will be controlled, exploited and then gagged when they speak or act in opposition. Compulsory by the device of preventing access to government services, banking services, air travel and major purchases for any Australian who does not have a digital ID.
A digital ID linked to MyGov. Passports, driver's licences, birth certificates.
Just consider the topic of immigration levels to Australia. This is a topic that's hugely relevant right now because we're in the middle of a housing catastrophe.
Online Safety Act. And the idea is if you say anything bad online, you can get arrested.
The government knows control will be used by government to identify people who say things on social media to speed up enforcement of our new laws.
Anxiety based upon your social media page.
Australia seems to be going down a path where they're censoring information and ideas.
And privatization, asset stripping, okay? So all this is happening in the Western world. Digital currency. The idea of digital currency is the idea of financial repression. But what you can do is report your child to the police. Tell the police your child is naughty and they'll come and help you discipline your child. In fact, you can get the police to come every single week. They'd like that. This is what we call a police state. Intrusive, government interference into your personal lives?
There's two causes. The first cause is the disdain for the working class. People who've spoken up from the white working class have been ignored. It's a complete bloody catastrophe for the open immigration policy because crimes are occurring at the hands of a very specific population and for very specific reasons, and no one wants to talk about those reasons at all. And no wonder.
To destroy national sovereignty and create a world unified government, okay?
And those who love the country and seem to be proud of it and its heritage, today, for some strange reason, seem to be ridiculed.
And one more thing. War after war after war.
Dictators, rockets, tens of thousands of troops, notorious anti-Western leaders, and even a former Victorian Premier, Daniel Andrews.
Vladimir Putin, North Korea, making it to shake President Xi's hand, and then into the dignitary's photo, Victorian Premier Dan Andrews.
So let's summarize what we've learned today. Other people are perfectly happy to send young people to die. Okay, pretty depressing, but don't worry, things will get even more depressing as we go along.